Hello student, my name is Swapnil Pawar. I am working as an assistant professor in a school of physical sciences, Punyashlok Ahilya Devi Holkar, Solapur University, Solapur. Today we are going to discuss the one topic in particles and their interaction. First of all, in an introduction, we will see what is the world made up of. Can you imagine how the world is made up of? In ancient time, we know that there is 4 elements. By using those elements, we know that our world or our earth or universe is made up of as per our understanding. So, these are the air, fire, water and the earth. But nowadays in a 19th century, when in a science goes in a deeper knowledge, in 19th century atoms is discovered, and after then the beginning of the 20th century the electrons, protons and neutrons were discovered. So, today as per our knowledge, the quarks and leptons are the fundamental particles. The atom in the 20th century, atoms react through chemical reaction and more than 100 atoms were known, like hydrogen, helium and iron. There is so many atoms are observed it. The internal structure is not well known at the beginning of the 20th century. Now we will see the history of atom. Okay. So, in a Greek word, atomos meaning uncuttable and indivisible. So, there is a one kind of a particle or a one thing. So, this is the Greek word is a atomos, we know now as a atom. So, it is a uncuttable. It means we cannot cut it or a indivisible, okay, at that time. Now, after then the theory explained by a scientist. So, there were so many scientists, they were work hard to find what is atomos and how it is. First one is a Dalton. So, Dalton was trying to give the complete idea about the atomic theory. So, he considered about the law of conservation of a mass or a constituent particle. So, he tried to explain all the things about the atom and explain the atomic theory. So, now we call it as a Dalton's atomic theory. So, after then J.J. Thomson's is came and he put forward the plum pudding model, or he gives the extra information about the atomic theory of Dalton's, and later the Ernst Rutherford was came forward and gives the nuclear model of the atom, and he were do the experiment of a gold foil and find out the nucleus inside the atom. Okay. And the J.J. Thomson was try to find after doing the experiment of a CRT tube. So, he found the electrons, okay, the negatively charged atom. So, after then Niels Bohr started to study further this thing and gives the planetary model. So, now we are known up to this. After then table of elements. So, by knowing all those theories and the atoms, those all atoms are we have to situated in a particular manner. So, that is why we generate a one kind of table, nowadays we called as a periodic table. So, the atoms are grouped in families with present similar properties, the elements table is done. Okay. So, this symmetry suggests a structure with a simpler constituent. In this periodic table, we know that the sp, df, the orbits, regarding those the theories. So, we arrange a particular standard model or a standard periodic table, now we called as a periodic table. So, there is the S block, P block and D block and F block. Atomic model. So, with the experiment, now we are able to break the atoms. So, in the 19th century or the before the 20th century, we know that the atom is a indistinguishable or a uncuttable. So, now we are go further or beyond it. Now, we break the atoms. So, then light particles like electrons with a negative charge around a positive and a heavy nucleus. The J.J. Thomson was told, or Rutherford was also told about it. So, practically the atom is empty. After knowing those ideas or their theories, we know that atom have a one nucleus, small nucleus and a electron cloud around it. Maybe you know about it, the atom we consider a football stadium. So, in which this is a whole atom, the stadium, and our nucleus is only about a football. Okay. So, it is you can imagine how point like the nucleus is. So, now what is nucleus and how it is made up of? So, the nucleus is a small and a dense material, okay, or a part. For a while it was thought to be a point like. Now, I told you about a football stadium and a football. So, now you can imagine the football is a point like particle. Okay. So, this is nothing but a nucleus. So, however, there were so many different nuclei, as many as atoms. So, as we know, the periodic table is concerned. So, there is a more atoms. As we go to the the number of protons and neutrons were increased. So, the atoms and their names are also differ. Simplification: all nuclei are made up of neutrons and protons. We will see. Okay. So, now quarks. So, today we know that first of all I will tell you about it. So, the nucleus is made up of the proton and neutron. Okay. Proton and neutron. So, today we know that protons and neutrons are no more fundamental units, because up to that we know atom is indivisible and uncuttable. Now, we go further, we know that atoms has a nucleus and electron cloud, and after then we also go further in a nucleus, and we know it is made up of quarks. Okay. So, neutrons are no more fundamental units. So, they are made up of smaller particles called as quarks. For the moment, look like quarks are a point like. So, the modern atom, how the modern atom we can explain. So, a cloud of electrons moving constantly around the nucleus, the protons and neutrons moving in the nucleus, as we know. So, the quarks moving around the protons and neutrons of a nuclei, or we can say inside a nuclei. Subatomic dimensions, we know all the things. So, how can we imagine all those concepts? So, we can go through the dimensions and we can understood. So, now here we can see everyday objects are made up of molecules, and then molecules are made up of atoms, and atoms are made up of nuclei and electrons. Nuclei are made up of protons and neutrons, and further these protons and neutrons are made up of those number of quarks. So, now quarks and electrons are made up of what? So, this is a question. Okay. So, now quarks and electrons are elementary particles, now we can say. So, our world or our universe, or maybe we can say our earth, is made up of quarks and electrons. This theory solves all the doubts of our questions? No. So, we can see in this image there is a orders. So, we can get the idea how the electrons and their clouds and the those nucleus and proton, neutrons and their sizes. Now, we can watch this image, we can consider one part of the plant portion, and here this plant is formed by using the number of cells, and these cells is made up of molecules. Okay. And these molecules is made up of atom, and this atom is made up of electrons and nucleus. So, now here we can see this is a electron and this is a nucleus. We know that the nucleus is made up of a neutron and proton. This nucleus is made up of neutron and proton. So, these are neutrons and protons, and inside those there are quarks. So, this is a up quarks and this is a down quarks. Okay. So, now at the beginning just a few, this is a scale, year scale. Here we can say that when which subatomic particles are discovered. So, this is near about 1997 the electron were discovered, and after then maybe near about 19 the proton were discovered. So, such like that so many fundamental particles of subatomic particles were discovered. So, introducing the quarks. So, firstly we do not know about a quarks, we just know about a proton, electron, neutron and other fundamental particles. So, after then near about 1965 the quarks idea or the quarks they were discovered, and after this by using those information we conclude the one kind of model. Okay. Now, we can call it as a standard model. Now, the modern experiment is also going on. Now, the question arises, what is fundamental? Okay. So, physicists have found hundreds of new particles. Today we know that most of them are not fundamental. The theory has been developed that seems to explain quite well what we do observe in a nature. The theory is called as a standard model. So, this model include 6 quarks, 6 leptons and 13 particles which carry the force in between quarks and leptons. Why high energies? Now, here the concept comes. When we go through the the small fundamental subatomic particles, they are very tiny, we cannot see by our naked eyes. So, that is why we have to resolve and we have to understand how they behave. That is why we have to resolve those things. So, that is why we require that kind of wavelength, and that is why those wavelength we have to form, we require a high energies. So, after applying the high energies, we can resolve those tiny particles separately. So, the study of elementary constituent of matter, how point like is point like. So, after knowing this, wavelength of radiation should be smaller than the object to be resolved. So, in physics we know that the de Broglie hypothesis or a de Broglie wavelength. So, we have the formula lambda is equal to h upon p. So, h we know that it is a constant known as the Planck's constant, and the p is nothing but a momentum of the respective subatomic particle. So, we have to find the momentum of the particle. So, we have to apply that amount of wavelength. So, here by knowing those subatomic particles, the object is atom and their respective size. So, we have such amount of radiations of energy in terms of the giga electron volt. Now, you can see the image in which you have the information about the radiations and their wavelength in terms of giga electron. And here those giga electron energy, how we can provide of those particular subatomic particles. It means these electrons we can accelerate in a particle accelerated, and that much amount of energy we can give to those particular electron. And for a nucleus, for a nuclear detection, we can use as a alpha particle, and nucleon and a quark we can use as a electron. What is the world made up of? Now, the same questions I will ask. What is the world made up of? So, real world is not done by single quark. Okay. So, quarks exist only in a groups. So, to form the so called hadrons, this is nothing but a proton and neutrons are a hadrons. So, example, a proton is made up of 2 quarks of up type and 1 quarks of a down type. So, just like that, neutron is also made up of 3 type of quarks. There is 1 down type and 2 down quarks and 1 up quark. So, the matter around and even each of us is made up of quarks up and down and of electrons. So, now here is a families. So, the 6 quarks and leptons are organized in a families. 3 families have analogies because they are a similar kind of properties they are show. So, why a second and third generations are needed? So, there is one question is arise, why these are needed? Because we were discussed only about a up quark and down quark. So, there is charm, strange, top and bottom, there is 4 quarks is remaining. So, why it is required and why we are considered in a families? So, there is one question, so we can think about it. Quarks have charges 2 by 3 and 1 by 3. Okay, because they are a charged particle, that is why they also have a respective charges, and leptons have charges -1 and 0 and the leptons. So, there are 6 leptons, 3 charged leptons and 3 neutral. They look like a point like particles without an internal structure. Electrons are most common and are found in ordinary matter, we all know about it. So, muons and taus are heavier and charged as the electrons, because they are charged particles, that is why they have high masses and they are heavier, and neutrinos have no charge and they have an extremely small masses, matter and antimatter. So, for every particles there is a corresponding particle of antimatter or a particle of a antiparticle. So, these particles appears to be as their sisters of matter, but with opposite charges. So, particles are created or destroyed with their antiparticles. So, here in this image we can see that up anti-up. So, when up cork is came and anti-up cork is came. So, when they are the annihilation processes occurs and the gluons is formed. When up cork and anti-up cork is add, the gluon is formed, the pair. The gluon is formed, and after then those are converted into other fundamental quarks. Okay. So, here the top quark and anti-top quark. So, here the concept of matter and antimatter we can understood. Now, matter versus antimatter, what is the similarities or what is the properties here we can see. For every particles there is an antiparticle. Antiparticles have the same mass as the particle because they are same. So, there is no change in a mass. So, we can say as mass is a fundamental or a intrinsic property of the particular subatomic particle. So, antiparticles have the same but opposite charge. So, there is charge distribution is opposite. If one particles is have a positive charge, then the antiparticles has a negative charge. So, and antiparticles have the opposite spin. If the particle has a positive spin half, so antiparticles have the negative spin half. In this table we can say that the particle up quark and anti-up quark, here the some distribution about it, the symbol we can represent up quark as a u and anti-up quark as a u dash, and the mass the both masses of the particle is common or same, and the charges are opposite. Now, we are going to discuss the forces. All these things are combined or correlated to each other, but how they requires a kind of force. So, now we are going to discuss what is force. So, in a nature there is a 4 kind of fundamental interactions of forces. Here all forces can be brought back to these interactions. So, the gravity is attractive, all other forces can also be repulsive, because gravity is only attract the bodies and it is a macroscopic force, not a microscopic, because when we see the planets in our solar system or all over the universe, so gravity is only attractive and the other 3 remaining forces are repulsive also. The interactions are also responsible for the nuclear decays. So, those kind of interactions or forces, they are also responsible for the decay process. We know that the radioactivity and all. How do particles interact? Now, we know that the particles and their forces, how they interact. So, here the common example or the best example we can take here, the object can interact without being in a contact. So, there is we consider the magnet. So, they doesn't interact because they don't get a contact, but they opposes some kind of field or a force, we can say magnetic force. How do magnets attract or repulse? So, there is a question is also arises, how they do it. So, how does the sun attracts the earth? Yeah, we know that there is a gravity. A force is something which is propagating in between objects. So, there is one kind of force which is propagating into the objects. Now, we are going to the electromagnetism. Somehow you know that the electromagnetic force are such that opposite charges attract and equal charges repel. So, this is a fundamental law. The force carries is the photon in an electromagnetic force or a electromagnetic light. So, in which the force carrier is a photon. So, the photon is a massless and move at the speed of light. It is a massless particle and it moves in a speed of light. Now, why nuclei do not explode? Yeah, so this is a question. We talk about the proton and neutron are constituent of the nucleus. So, there is so many protons, so many neutrons are in a contact. Why those nucleus are not explode? So, there is number of protons also, 1 proton and 2 proton. Those 2 protons have the positive charge, positive they have to repel, but why they don't? So, here a heavy nucleus contains many protons all with positive charges. So, these protons repels each other. Why the nucleus does not explode? So, this is due to the strong nuclear force that we discussed, the 4 fundamental force, in which first one is the gravity, second one is the electrostatics, and third one is the strong nuclear force, and fourth one is a weak nuclear force. So, here the strong nuclear force are held together all those protons and neutrons in a combined state, and that is why nucleus is not explode. We were discussing about the strong force. So, the strongest of the fourth force, So in all those four forces in which the strong nuclear force is a stronger. So is only effective at distance less than 10 to the power minus 15 meters. So it's about a nuclear size, and it holds the quarks together, and that's why nucleus is not explode. This force is carried by a gluons. So just like that, as we discuss about the electromagnetic force, the photon is a force carriers, and in terms of the strong nuclear force, the gluon is a force carriers. So here color and anticolor. So how gluons is the carries the force. So that's why we have to the interpret one kind of scenario, so we can understand it in a very better way. So there are 3 color charges and 3 anticolor charges. They are situated in a nucleus. Note that here the one thing is important, those colors are not related to the visible light. Okay, with the standard color and with the visible light, it is just a way to describe the physics. So this is a hypothetical concept we try to just for our better understanding. Colored quarks and gluons. So how the relation of color quarks and gluons. So every quarks has one of the 3 color charges, and every antiquarks has one of the 3 anticolor charges. Okay. So baryons and mesons are neutral in color, so they don't have any kind of color charge. So here in image we can see quarks carry a color and antiquarks carry a anticolor. So after the pairing of these quarks and antiquarks, they form a gluon and carry a color and anticolor. So it means when the interaction is happen, so they interact in a very precise manner and they change their form. Quarks emit gluons. We know that color charges and all. So those interactions, when they are exchanged, so at that time gluons is formed. So we can say quarks emits gluons. So when a quarks emits or absorb a gluon, the color of the quark changes in order to save the color charge. A red quark emits a red anti-blue gluons and becomes blue. We know what is weak force. Weak interactions are responsible for the decay of heavy quarks and leptons. Quarks and leptons are the fermions. Okay. So example, the neutron decays in a proton plus neutrons plus neutrinos. After knowing the Feynman diagrams, we can better understand this concept. This explains why all matter is composed by the lighter leptons and quarks. And the gravity. So gravity is a weak force, as we know, and it is important to macroscopic distances in a planetary system and all. So the force carries graviton. Yeah, there is also one kind of the carrier force we can call as a gravitons. So is predicted by the theory but not yet observed. So here the brief data what we discuss about the forces. So the strong nuclear force, here the intensity we can say as a 1, and the carriers is a gluon, and it happens in a atomic nuclei. So as compared the strong nuclear intensity, we can say that the electromagnetic force having the intensity is the 10 to the power minus 3, and the force carriers is a photons, and it happens also in a atomic levels. So the weak nuclear force, there is the carriers is a bosons, the gauge bosons, the W plus and W minus or a Z0. So they are a heavy kind of the carriers, force carriers, and they happens in a beta radioactive decay, because this is a weak nuclear force. So that's why the radioactive activity we observe. And the graviton or gravitation, it is we can consider the nuclear force, strong nuclear force, as compared to the gravitation, it is 10 to the power minus 38 times less, and the force carriers is a gravitons. So which is not we don't have the strong evidence about it, and it happens in the heavy bodies in a planetary system. Now the unstable nucleus, we know that the all things. After then the unstable nucleus, we saw that the strong forces keeps the nucleus together against the repulsive force between protons. So however, not all nuclei are stable, some of them are also decays. So the nucleus can split in smaller nuclei and their constituent, and this happens, for example, in a nuclear reactor. The mysteries and failures about those concepts. So, the Standard Model is a theory of the universe. It gives a good description of the phenomena which we observed experiment. So, under many respect is not complete. Why there are 3 generations? Because we only discuss about the up quark and down quark. So, there is also 4 quarks are remaining. So, we do not know about it. And why 3 generations? What is the dark matter? Yeah, there is one concept, the dark matter. So, what it is? Einstein has extended the laws of mechanics of Newton with the relativity theory. We now have to go beyond the Standard Model. For knowing all those concepts, we have to do much more. So, we have to explain masses and gravity and etc. So, 3 families. So, there are 3 families of fundamental particles. Why only 3? And why we just see one of them in a real world? What we can say about masses? So, the Standard Model contains cannot explain why a given particle is characterized by its mass. Physicists invented a new field called as a Higgs field, which interacts with all the other particles to give their masses. For the moment, the Higgs particles has not been identified, but we know only the Higgs field. Theory of grand unification. Yeah, this is a one kind of theory. We have to merge all these 3 energies or 3 forces in a one combined form, and we called as a grand unification theory. So, these 3 forces will then be visible as a different manifestation at low energies of a unique forces. The 3 forces will unify at a very high energies. After then, the supersymmetry. By knowing the grand unification theory, this is the first part of the theory of everything, supersymmetry. Some physicists, in the attempt to unify gravity with the other fundamental forces, have suggested that every fundamental particle should have a shadow particle. So, it is more than 20 years that we are looking for these supersymmetric particles. Now, the dark matter. It seems that the universe is made by a different matter than our sun and star. The dark matter attracts normal matter, but it has not identified yet. The accelerating universe. The recent experiments which looks at the type Ia supernovas shows that the universe is still expanding and that the expansion rate is increasing. This acceleration must be guided by a new mechanism which has been called dark energy. Now, after knowing all these things, we can say that the composition of the cosmos. So, we know that the quarks and all these things, quarks, leptons. So, our the heavy elements in the universe are only present in the 0.03%. After then, the ghostly neutrinos are 0.3% are present in the whole cosmos, and the stars are 0.5%, and the free hydrogen and helium are present near about 4%, and the dark matter in the cosmos is present 30%, and the dark energy we do not know about it. So, this is present in a 65%. Thank you.